Arzgot here, and it's time to talk about Lord of Mysteries, episode 6. And this is probably my favorite episode so far, and I think I found my favorite character in the series. At least, of course, still so far with Azik. And I'm a sucker for immortal type characters or long lived, and he definitely had some Dracula vibes and also some Dark Soul references here. So I was very intrigued with this episode. And even the start, we kind of find out a bit more about the world and the bigger mysteries that have been happening here, and I'm liking it. I really liked Azik quite a lot, and I have a ton of questions here, but let's get into the episode and talk about it. Now, I liked how it started this ominous vibe with the beginning of the episode with this painting like crazy there that Azik was doing, and something more was happening, affecting him. Throughout the episode, there's a lot of build up to him, and when we saw at first the introduction we got to him when Klein went to visit him about information with Hornasis, it kind of felt like, is he gonna be a bad guy with that skeleton we saw there at when the episode ended here? But here this episode actually expands quite a lot on Azik, and I wish we got more episodes like this focusing on the characters. Like, the world and the powers are super interesting, but I feel like the character moments are lacking, and I'm already attached to Azik, my favorite character in the series so far. We got his story, his emotions here, his connection, everything with the world, even him being connected to Klein, and every time he's gonna be on screen I'm gonna pay a lot more attention when we have more Azik, and I feel like this is probably the biggest thing that the series is missing right now: more character moments, spending time with them, and interactions, and having more episodes like this. I would love one with Dan a bit. He seems like such an interesting character, but we barely see something with Dan or any of the other characters here. But anyway, the episode is also focused on this castle that Klein goes to investigate thanks to Elizabeth to interpret her dreams, and this mysterious knight that is there, and them having to bring an artifact that is able to disperse wraiths, which that artifact can do a lot more than just disperse wraiths. We find out later in this episode, and also has the fun effect of making Beyonders praise the sun, praise the sun, praise the sun. I really like the Dark Soul reference there, and very focused on the sun powers with this episode, but we're gonna get a bit later to the artifact. And after this they go in to investigate this castle, and they get attacked by what I first thought was a Dullahan, and this wraith knight without a head, very typical with Dullahan, but that knight has kind of like a sad history and a bit connected to Azik, which we're gonna get to. I really liked everything, kind of felt connected and cohesive this episode, a lot more than previous ones here. And Klein, I like the nightmare moment there when he got slammed in the head, and thanks to it being a nightmare and they were stalling for time to be able to get the artifact to disperse the wraith, fighting with the knight was really cool. I really like characters like that, knights, swords and things, weapons. Hey, Ares God, I like weapons, you guys know. With this melee in every games I play and so on. I like more warrior type things than magic type things, if you get my my meaning. So that was really cool for me seeing that Dullahan wraith. And the elbow that Klein got, if it wasn't a nightmare, a dream there, I don't think would have gotten back up after that one. Like, that one was brutal to the face here. And thanks to the artifact stalling, they're able to disperse the wraith and clean up a bit here, and they stay around to investigate some more, keep an eye on things taking shifts with the artifact here. And apparently they find a painting here, could be really old, from the 4th epoch, like 1,000 years ago or something like that, and that painting looks very similar to Azik here, and that's why I said things felt much more connected throughout this episode. And Klein also gets curious about that, of course, having to keep it in mind, because remember, he actually went to Azik to get information on Hornasis, finding this one here. We saw the power, so more and more things adding up to be suspicious with Azik in this episode. But then he gets curious about the artifact and tries to use the fog to look into it, with the help with the fog a lot more. And here is like, when Dan saw the creator there, Klein kind of has a similar moment. Granted, a lot more dangerous here. He sees that that artifact has a drop of the eternal blazing sun, and everything is connected with the world, also the gods and so on, and the sun pathway. And it felt like that was like a liquid sun in a way. And later find out that was the blood of a god. He touches a part of it when he was doing this. I'm like, I know you want to touch it, just don't. I know you're going to do, I know you can't help yourself, but just don't. Why? He couldn't help it, and of course, in the back of my mind, I was just touch it. I want to see what happens, but still don't. So I liked that going back and forth in my mind that he actually touches it, and yeah, everything goes nuclear. Everything starts burning. Even the fog himself, his face melts off, like burning in the little meaning of burning, like you're going on the sun and walking. Just go at the night, dude. What's wrong? Just visit the sun at night. No, it doesn't work like that. Everything was burning. Everything must burn here, and that happens when you interact with powers beyond anything close to you. And you know, it gets saved by the fog or this water thing. I'm still not fully sure what saved him there. Probably the fog. We still have no idea what actually the fog is. Big question, probably one of the biggest mysteries in the series. Don't tell me if it hasn't been shown in the anime or anything. I don't want spoilers and so on. It's super hard for me not to go into spoilers, look things ahead. Probably after season 1, I'm either gonna read the source material or gonna go full spoilers to get more answers here, but we'll see. I'm very, very interested into the world and things like that. But after he gets saved, and I like they show the face melting there. It felt like he more took damage in that realm, not actual physical damage. Like in the real world, his face wasn't melted off. It felt more like spiritual in a way, or like that higher realm that he was there, more psychic damage than physical damage. Thankfully, imagine Klein with a melted off face, and him deducing and thinking, did he really gaze at a god there, or at the sun? And yeah, you kind of did in a way. You still don't fully know what exactly was happening there, but he gets some information, or kind of like a reward for being able to withstand that a bit. Full of writing on his body, and everywhere he sees some pathways, and saying he must not gaze at gods, and gets a sequence and information about a sequence for Unshadowed. I don't think it's tied to him unless they're with the seer pathway. There's probably to the sun pathway here. Unshadow, of course, it makes sense. Still don't fully know, but maybe he's gonna be able to use that in the future with some other connection and things. But jumping from, we've seen so far 9, 8, 7, and we saw the exponential growth, how much powerful they are. When we saw the last episode with Witch, compared to 8 and 7, the power gap is huge. Now imagine, let's say 7 to 4, that must be an insane power gap between those sequences there. And depending on the pathway and how they interconnect with each other, like you can have bad matchups. Let's say this pathway is bad against this pathway, so that also could play a role into. So sequence 4 is actually insane, seeing that, and him realizing that gold liquid thing was the blood of a god, so he gazed onto a god, or had a connection with it. And yeah, that was painful. Imagine everything burning, including yourself here. And thinking of this, he heard like, what is the angel of pure white? I have no idea what, but just make a note of that here. And we see, if you pause the episode, actually save this one, we see a bit of information with the epochs. The first epoch, Age of Chaos, the creator awakens from the chaos, creating the first light and forming all things from his body. The second epoch, Dark Epoch, the Evernight goddess awakens, is probably connected to the Evernight goddess that the Nighthawks have, the church here. Then the third epoch, Cataclysm Epoch, humans survive the great cataclysm with the blessing and protections of the gods. The fourth epoch, Epoch of the gods, frequent wars and changing of dynasties, kind of similar to our history in a way. The fifth epoch, Iron Age, the seven gods bless the northern continent. So yeah, something to keep in mind. A lot of epochs here. I'm really liking the world, like I said, the powers, the characters, and after this, probably my favorite part of the episode. Like the first part was more a bit connected to Klein and a bit to Azik, but a lot more to Klein here. Now Azik kind of takes the forefront of the episode, moving forward after the god moment, so to say. And I like Klein hesitating a bit to go visit Azik after he saw that painting. Hey, maybe he's that old. Who is he? Still fully doesn't know him. Remember, he's not actually Klein. He's Zhao having that reincarnation there, or transportation he had here. Goes to visit Azik about Hornasis. Klein thinking about everything, but when he walks in, Azik is not there, and he finds that painting that we saw at the start, and similar to the castle, Lamont Castle, so everything being interconnected again. And then Azik walks in and, yeah, no, I was just walking in, nothing, I stumbled upon this. I like how Klein played innocent. And Azik, at first I thought he was just playing dumb and saying he was just dream painting, like he painted that without even realizing, kind of like sleepwalking in again. Again, he goes to sleep, wakes up, and that painting is there. But he was actually being honest, and I was, like I said, I thought he was playing dumb. But later in the episode, they find out that's true, which we're gonna get to that. And here, where Azik gives him a book of Ornasis, the ruins. Apparently, that used to be some sort of old civilization, and I like how Klein's like, oh. Yeah, thank you very much. He just couldn't wait to leave. But Azik is like, read it here. You're no longer a student, so that book can't leave the campus. Like, oh damn. So yeah, you're gonna read the book, and maybe you're gonna become part of its history. I like that moment. Poor Klein, just over a book there. But after this, in the book, there's a lot more similarities with the castle they saw in the vision, and this ancient nation, the nation of Evernight. Is it related to the Evernight goddess? The connection there? Apparently they worshipped her, like actually just calling it or her. They're the ruler of Evernight. Was it the actual goddess? We don't know. Or maybe that's how that myth started, Mother of the Sky also. So there's a lot of information in this episode and in that book with Hornasis, and connecting with everything else. And even Azik was a bit more suspicious of Klein, and saying he saw some fluctuations in his fate. And Klein is there, oh, what do you mean by that? Poor guy was going through so many roller coaster of emotions. But Azik also says a part of his fate is connected to him, so both of them being connected with each other. And you seem nervous, just always kind of hovering on him here. And when he was like, you know some of my secrets, I'm like, okay, are they gonna fight? Is he gonna attack? Is he gonna reveal he's a bad guy? But no, he was actually chill throughout the episode. Even when big moments were happening, like shit is about to go down, like yes, things actually happen, but made me even more interested slowly into Azik here. And even this time he's honest, saying, no, I just want more information about my past, curious about his own past here. And Klein used his powers before and saying he had a divination. If he helps Azik and also keeps Azik's secret from the Nighthawks, at some point Azik is going to save him. So yeah, they're kind of very connected, to say the least there. But after this, when Klein went to help Azik, they go and talk a bit more. Azik saying he dreamed of the castle before it was ruined, like the castle they went before at the start of the episode here. Kind of see glimpses with how the castle was in its prime when people were living here, and he was actually the lord there. He had a kid, family, getting some memories back here, which is very important for him. And when he picks up that sword, quickly get a glimpse more into the past with the castle kind of reforming, seeing that flashback there, moments and moments in the past of Azik. I really liked that part there. And then they open the secret passage, they go down and they find the sarcophagus of a knight, and this is where Azik gets very, very angry, and you see souls everywhere gathering to him, and I'm like, okay, is he about to go wild? And this made me think so much of Dracula. It's insane how much, and even the glimpse there, we saw some impaling things in the flashback, and also similar in a way with the Lich King from World of Warcraft. If you guys ever played the game or know the lore, Castlevania, also things like that, very that vibe, and it fits very well with the entire vibe of the show. And hey, I'm Romanian, Dracula is in my blood, and so on. I'm a fat vampire, so I like characters like this. Helsing also, if you have never watched, highly recommend Helsing here. Also made me think a bit of Vanitas, the anime. But yeah, I'm a sucker for vibes like this, immortal characters, vampires, old things, legends, and so on. So this was, I was there, I was in the episode here, and when he got angry, like I said, the souls being here, and we see the past a bit with this battlefield, Klein being present there like an observer, and Azik being full stabbed of swords, burned at the stake, you know, the mob wanting him dead, and he just starts decimating soldiers. I'm like, damn, go wild, Azik. I believe in you. You're my bro. And then we actually see that giant skeleton we saw at his first introduction. He kind of uses it like a stand in a way. He's able to control it when he got angry there, and himself decimating soldiers and that giant skeleton decimating soldiers. And here seeing impaled people, Vlad the Impaled, Dracula, and so on. Hey, he's my character. I found my bro in this show here. I was hooked there. But after that fight, he gets a reward, and he's called the Baron Azik, and we see him getting that castle there. He made a family, wife, kids, but things got worse there. His wife got sick here, and we see the ghosts kneeling in front of him in the present, and slowly he felt something is wrong. He probably with his power, he couldn't control it. Maybe it was affecting those around him, and him kind of being immortal, seeing the ones that you care about. I got the feeling throughout the episode he kind of was cursed with solitude. You know, even that old witch was screaming throughout it in the episode, and he left his family behind and everything here. Not to make their lives harder, he probably took it on himself, the guilt there. I'm a sucker for characters like this, and the reveal in the present. Apparently, he's a corpse collector pathway. We don't know the sequence. He's probably high there. I don't know where I would place him from the glimpses that I saw. I would say maybe. I think he's stronger than Seven. Like we saw how strong Tris was, or Trissy, however you wanna call her now, Trissy, because she's more Trissy. But feeling like a 6, maybe a 5. Well, considering he's like 1,000 years old, I don't know, but his memories, I don't know, like somewhere around there, but it's definitely stronger than a 7 here. But yeah, the reveal also that Wraith was his kid. In fact, he cared about his kid quite a lot, and somebody damaged his body, took the skull of his kid. For what reason, we have no idea. So that's why I was thinking of Dulhan, and yeah, he was angry to say the least. Like he was about to go wild, and started using bloodline tracing, and actually connects a bit with Klein, and they see this giant door with eyes and trying to trace who took the skull, but he's not able to. And also that feather is always there. If you keep attention to the episode, there's always that feather there. There's always a feather throughout things that are happening, and he still senses more into Klein, their connections here, but he wasn't able to trace whoever took the skull of his kid. But he's gonna keep at it. Of course, he's gonna want that revenge here. Makes a grave for his son. Tenno, and here we get the reveal that he doesn't have all of his memories. At least he got some back, which is very thankful to Klein. So Klein helped him quite a lot, and the reveal here that every few decades he kind of slumbers. He wakes up and has some just basic information about him, like name, designation, and things like that, but not fully his past. He knows he lived for a very long time, but he doesn't have that context. In a way, he has more fog on his brain than Klein has, thanks to his memories here and dreaming of his reincarnations, his previous past lives here. And this is where you get the feeling of that immortality is a curse, the solitude, and so on, and even more for him not having the memory. So quickly became my favorite character. Hope we get more Azik here, and him being thankful to Klein, and Klein empathizing in a way with Azik, feeling alone in this world. Remember, he's not originally from this world, but he has at least a safety net in a way with Benson and Melissa, and makes the commitment to spend a bit more time with them there. So yeah, this episode was honestly a great. Azik, best character in the series so far. Hope we get more episodes like this and give me more Azik. And the world gets more and more interesting with this god, the sequence 4 that Klein got here. So I'm excited for next episode. I probably miss some things talking about this, but there's so many things. I feel like this series would be very well suited when it's over to have a full binge. And also saw the dub is out. I'm curious how the dub is. If you watch the English dub, let me know in the comments below, especially if you have had the trouble keeping up with things. I'm not here to pretend I pick up everything and every single thing. It also helps. I take notes for series I do videos on, I pause and so on, but yes, that should be necessary. I agree with you. I've said it many times that the pacing is the biggest issue with the series and so on, but I'm still enjoying it quite a lot. But I'm curious what you guys thought about this episode, especially if you're donga only, but also if you've read the source material. And of course, don't go into spoilers, please. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Lord of Mysteries. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye.